I don't know if I'll need this, probably not. I won't need this. Makes me feel official. All right, everyone, I'm just here for the sole purpose of introducing this gentleman, Mr. Harold Samuels, who is the Regional English Language Officer with the, what is it, the Asia Pacific region?
Yeah, it's pretty much Asia Pacific.
Okay, so he's responsible for English language programming for the U.S. government in this area, which is going to include the English Language Fellows Program, which I belong to, and when I was in Kazakhstan, he was actually the diplomat to whom I reported. So my former boss, my current friend, he's an expert in his field, and we're lucky to have him. So how about giving him a warm
Thank you very much for that great introduction, David, and I'll make it up to you over dinner tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right, and I see we have someone new who just walked in. Okay, so we'll get you some of our materials, and then also there should be, no more, one more? Did everyone take a number from the bag? Everyone? No? Okay, so we're going to have a raffle at the end, so please choose one number. Okay, maybe that's the lucky number. All right. So nice to be here with you. And David mentioned during his introduction, I'm what's called the Regional English Language Officer, and I work in another country in this region, the Philippines, and my duties mainly focus on making presentations like this to pre-service teachers, in-service teachers. I also have some programs for English teachers that I'm responsible for promoting or managing. And we have lots of online resources, which I'd like to talk about today. We also have some print resources, books, games, posters, including the set that I showed you a little while ago that I'll be giving some of you as prizes. So I'd like you to get some experience, some hands-on experience using the poster set and also a couple of the games that I brought along. And then I understand that very soon you're going to have the start of the school year. Is that right? The school year starts in September? This semester? Okay. So I'm not sure if you're going to be actually teaching at the beginning of this September, but anyway, I'd like to have you do a couple of warm-up, icebreaker activities that involve some movement. So we'll do that too during the session. So to get started, I've given you a flyer. And this flyer has information about, oh, by the way, I prefer not to use a microphone, so can everybody hear me, or can you hear me well enough? How about in the back? Okay, so I'm going to go without a microphone. I've given you a flyer which has information about our American English website, about some of our Facebook pages. So my office is located in Manila, but we have a website which is used by English teachers, all around the world. It's called AmericanEnglishAtState.gov. So I'll talk about that in a few minutes, but that's the very first website that you'll see on this flyer. Facebook pages, so we have mainly 2 Facebook pages, and one of them is for teachers. It's called American English for Educators Facebook page. So I'm going to briefly show you that Facebook page and tell you about something that you can watch. Actual live presentations by teachers on different methods and techniques they use. And then we also have what's called American English at State Facebook page. And this page is mainly for learners. And I'll show you a couple of examples of some of the things that you can find there. And then going down a little further, we have webinars. Have any of you ever participated in a webinar on any topic? A webinar on any topic. Okay. So webinars are on a variety of topics. Of course, all of the ones we have focus on teaching English. And what happens is 3 times a year, I believe it's 3 times a year, we have different speakers who make presentations on Facebook Live. They make presentations for other English teachers. And the topics are, a wide variety of topics. They're not necessarily related to one another. So if you watch the series, you'll see every other Wednesday you'll have a webinar, and that goes on for 6 sessions. So they're not necessarily related, but they're still very good, and some of them are even presented by some of our English language fellows. Others are presented by some of the reloads, and they're only 60 minutes. No homework, really no pressure, no stress, no strain. You just can watch the webinar and you're trying to get as much out of it as you possibly can. We also have something else which is like a webinar, but we do them in a series, 5 or 6, and those are called MOOCs. MOOC, which is an abbreviation for Massive Open Online Courses. And we have 5 listed here on the second page, and then we also have some other MOOCs. And if you look down below, you'll see American English e-teacher MOOCs. So right now we've got 2 or 3 of these e-teacher MOOCs, which are on topics like content-based instruction, teaching other subjects in English, or teaching English to young learners. So teaching English to students in very low elementary grades, 1, 2, 3, kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade. The MOOCs you can watch over about a 1 month, 4 or 5 weeks, and they are all related to the same topic. And if you'll take a look at the next page where it says upcoming MOOCs, we have one which this one opened up in July, closes in September, and I'm sorry, but this MOOC has already closed. So the last day that you could have registered for this was August 19th. So it probably will be offered again, and it may even be archived. But let's turn to the next page, which has content-based instruction. So, okay, this course is designed for teachers who are already teaching or preparing soon to teach, like you all. And this is a course that focuses on teaching content. Basically, it's for teachers who want to teach their subjects in English, biology, social sciences, social studies, excuse me. And then if we look at the calendar here, it is possible to register for this MOOC. And even as you can see, August 26th, September 2nd, September 9th. So you're given about a month and a half to complete the MOOC. Now, if you haven't taken MOOCs before, the way it works is you watch the MOOC once a week, and then ideally you try to get together with a couple of other people who've been watching the same MOOC. Meet up somewhere, maybe here. Meet up at the university here. And then you want to have a discussion about the material that you watched in the MOOC, and see if you can even maybe come up with some ideas for how you could use that in your own classroom practice. But I would strongly advise you to do both. If you're going to do a MOOC, then it's best to meet afterwards with the other participants in the MOOC, and it makes it much more meaningful. It's a lot better to do anything when it comes to education. A lot better to do it with someone else than to do it in isolation. So I think it's worth at least taking a look at a MOOC and see if it's something for you. It's very similar to a webinar. except it's a course. So there are going to be 4 or 5 presentations, which you watch one a week, and then you meet to discuss what you watched online. So I'd like to move on because there's so much more I can tell you about the American English website. But anyway, hold on to this, and when you have a chance, read through it more carefully, and you can find more information on the last couple of pages about the webinars which are going to be coming in September, and yes, in September 4th through November 13th. And then also on the very last page, some examples of some of the books that we have on the American English website. Let me have you take a look at the website with me. State.gov, and let me just have you take a look at some of our resources. So, for example, so we have some books, not a large collection, but we have some which focus on different language skills. And for example, we have these books which are called graded readers. So Huckleberry Finn was like a very long novel that was written in the 19th century by someone named Mark Twain. It's several hundred pages, and it has a lot of language which probably is difficult for students that you will be teaching. Language will be difficult for them to understand. So what our office did many years ago was to take Huckleberry Finn and about another maybe 10 or 11 books, well-known novels written by authors like Mark Twain, and they simplified the novels. So instead of having several hundred pages, this book has maybe between 100 and 150 pages, and it has fewer words that were used in the original novel. So these kinds of readers are called graded readers, or sometimes they're referred to as leveled readers, and they would be very good for any of you who want to focus on reading in your class. And actually, if I have a chance, I'm going to show you a couple of websites where you can find quizzes for these kinds of readers. And that way, if you want to, you can have your students, you can ask your students to read something, and then if you want to do an assessment of how much they understood, you can give them the quiz. So this is one example of a leveled reader, a graded reader. Massive open online courses, so I just mentioned these, American English books. And these are on your handout. And these are all really developed mainly with learners in mind, but they would actually be good, I think, for teachers to do as well. They focus on topics like media literacy, STEM, science, technology, engineering and math, business for entrepreneurship, English for career development. This focuses mainly on writing for professional development, how to write resumes, cover letters, professional email messages, and so forth. And finally, webinars. Let me go back to the webinars for just a minute. hoping to show you one of the videos. Here we go, online. Okay, so here's an example of a webinar recording. And all of our webinars are on YouTube.
American English, American English, American English, webinar series. Teach and learn. American English, webinar series.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another great American English webinar.
Okay, so on a webinar, what you'll see is a PowerPoint presentation, and then you'll hear someone narrating the PowerPoint. This will be the presenter, of course, who will be speaking about the topic. And then down here, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask the presenter, you can type them here in the chat box. Let me just move this a little bit
We're so
forward.
happy to see all of you here today and are looking forward to another great session. This is the American English webinar series brought to you by the American English team at the U.S. Department of State in Washington, D.C. Do you have a photo of teachers viewing an American English webinar? These photos were submitted by English language fellow Sarah Badroni at École Normale Supérieure in Rabat, Morocco, and I'm so sorry, I'm sure I mispronounced that. But thank you so much for sharing these wonderful photos of your webinar viewing group. We would love to see more teachers learning together. You can submit photos like the ones shown here by emailing them to americanenglishwebinars@elprograms.org. We may feature them in the next webinar. My name is Katie, part of the American English team, also known as Moderator Katie. And you'll see Moderator Heather and Amy here today in the chat box to help you. Here you can see our schedule for this series. Our next and final webinar will be on July 13th, and it's entitled Creating and Sustaining English Language Clubs to Enhance English Learning. And it's presented for us by Bryce Medley and Kathleen Malou. Our webinars are each 60 minutes long and related to a theme found on the American English website. The Teacher's Corner section from the website shown here features resources and lesson ideas related to this month's topic. The theme for June is Common Challenges in the English Language Classroom. New activities will be coming soon. You may notice the American English website has a new organization scheme. The Teacher's Corner can now be accessed in two ways: from the rotating feature at the top of the homepage or through the English Teaching Resources section. Next, let's look at how you will participate in the webinars. During these webinars, you will hear but not see the presenter. The way for you to participate is by typing in the chat box, as many of you are doing right now. The chat box is where you can ask questions or make comments related to today's topic. We may not be able to answer every question that you have, as there are often hundreds of you here participating, but there is another place to ask questions after the session is over, the main community for the teachers, which we'll look at in just a moment. The presenter may also ask you questions in the form of polls. These multiple choice questions will appear on the screen for you to answer. And some people may experience technical problems during the webinar. We will let you know if we're having a global problem. But if you do lose sound, you can follow along with the caption pod if refreshing your internet browser doesn't correct the problem. As you know, each webinar series consists of 6 webinars. During the series, webinars take place every other Wednesday.
I'm going to move this forward because I'd like to get into the actual content of this one.
Content, while giving students a chance to practice speaking. In this webinar, you will see and participate in 5 activity demonstrations and be able to access materials and lesson plans to try out the activities in your own classroom. And it's my pleasure today to introduce our presenter, Rebecca Wilner. Rebecca Wilner holds a master's degree in TESOL from American University and a bachelor's degree in psychology from the University of Rochester. She has taught ESL, ESP, and EFL in several countries for more than 10 years and is currently an educator in residence at American University. Prior to that, Rebecca served as a senior English language fellow in Panama City, Panama, where she was the academic director at the Center for English Language Immersion. So welcome, Rebecca. We're excited to hear what you have for us today.
Thanks, Katie. That's a great introduction. I'm so happy to be here with everybody this morning, and thank you for taking time out of your busy lives to be with us today. I was watching the polls as you came into the chat this morning, and I saw that a majority of you teach teenagers and young adults, and that's great. Sometimes at that age, people are a little bit shy. And so I hope that some of these activities that we discussed today will be especially useful. I also saw that most of you teach all different levels, and that's great. Some of the things that we're going to talk about today can be adapted for different levels. It's the same activity, and maybe the topic or the language will change a little bit depending on what your students are working on. So thanks again for being here. Today's presentation is called Using Rubric Effectively to Increase Student Speaking Time in Class.
I'm going to just pause right there. So that gives you some idea of what happens in the seminar. You have a presenter. Their presentation is accompanied by a PowerPoint. You have an opportunity to ask questions. But keep in mind there could be thousands of other people who are also asking questions. So sometimes they don't get to answer your question specifically, but they might. Whatever your question is, hopefully it will be answered during your presentation. That's one thing you can do with this website, American English, state.gov, and just so that I don't forget to show you one other really important resource. We have a journal, which we can provide you with hard copies of this journal, or you can also find this journal on the website. It's called English Teaching Forum. It's a quarterly journal, and articles in Forum magazine are very, very useful. There are generally two kinds of articles. So one article would be written about a classroom activity that an English language fellow or any teacher would have tried in her classes or her class, enjoyed the activity, and they want to share it with a lot of other people, so they submit their activity to Forum magazine, and if it's accepted, there will be maybe tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of other teachers who will learn about this activity, because the Forum journal is sent to all of the embassies all over the world, where the embassies distribute it, but then anybody, no matter where you are living, can also access Forum on this website. And I brought a couple of examples of Forum magazine to show you. We'll be getting to that a little bit later. But actually, for now, I don't have a whole lot of time with you this afternoon. So what I would really like to do is to show you one of our most popular materials. It's a game set. It's called Activate, and it's a collection of about 11 or 12 board games. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is to take a board game, if I can figure out how to tear open this plastic. Thank you. I think I need a little help with this. Yeah, nowadays everything in plastic is so challenging. Okay. All right. Great. Thanks a lot. What's your name? Thank you very much. Activate. Okay. So with the Activate board games, so there are about 11 or 12 of these games. They're played like any board game. They're played with dice, of course. And each one of these games has some kind of a language form, a question, or maybe a sentence pattern. that that the students or whoever's playing the game can practice. So I want to give you each about maybe 3 or 4 of you each a board game to practice and play. I'll also give you some dice to use. And let me just select the games that I want to ask you to play. Need some dice. And game pieces. So, let's see here. Can the 4 of you play one of the games? Okay. How about this one? About me. So, let's put it somewhere where the 4 of you can all see it, play it together. Here's one dice, and then each of you can have a game piece. And you start here, okay, and then you just move according to the roll of the dice, and answer or complete the sentences. Okay, so why don't you get started on that? Here's one that practices pattern. Would you rather? Would you rather do something? And why would you rather do it? So why don't we start the 3 of you play this one? So here's the board.
This board is
For 3 people. Yeah, we'll do it with 3 people. So here's some game pieces for you. Okay, let me get. Okay, which would the world be better without? Which would the world be better without? So, how about the 3 of you? And the 3 of you? This one. Here are game pieces for
see
you.
who has the highest number. Alright, so maybe I'll go first. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So, do you ask me or do I ask you?
And then 1, 2, 3, 4.
Would I rather live in a house or an apartment? I would rather live in a house because I need to animals.
When she comes out, let her
And not live inside of me. I grew up with dogs, but since I lived in Seoul, I didn't have a dog because I wouldn't feel like dogs like
Okay, let's make it a closed circle. Okay, all right, so, all this way to go. Okay, Draper, you're gonna take photos, okay. So, it's always good at some point during class to get the students out of their chairs and doing something involving some body movement. So what I have in mind is that we're going to do a couple of very easy activities which you could use at the beginning of the semester. They're warm-ups, they're kind of icebreakers to help students feel more comfortable with each other, get to know each other better. And so the first one, we'll have to have you asking questions to each other, but very simple questions. So this is what I'd like you to do. I want you to form a new circle in this order. So we're going to be doing it by our birth month and birth day. So everyone, okay, so imagine I'm standing here and that my birthday is on January 1st. So the person standing on this side of me is going to be later than that, January 3rd, February 1st, going all the way around until December 31st on this side of me. Okay? So you have to ask each other some questions about birthdays. Okay? Any questions? Okay, let's do it. Go for it. Birthdays from January to December. Make a new circle. December over here. Okay, let's check, okay? Let's check. Okay, when is your birthday? What day? 15?
March 3rd, March 20th, April 2nd, May 4th, May 25th, May 27th,
1st of June,
29th, June 19th, September 15th,
December 9th.
and December 27th.
Okay, very good. Very good. Okay, let's try another way. Okay, let's do it alphabetically by your first name. Alphabetically by your first name. And start with first name starting with A on this side, and first name starting with Z on this side. Okay, go for it. English name. Yeah. I guess English name. Yeah.
Family name or
First name. So, for example, my name is Harold. So mine would start with H. That's my first name. So it could be family. I mean, it can be English or Korean. It doesn't matter. Just the alphabetical order. That's important. A, Z. Okay, so let's check. Okay. But yours is E. B. So B.
spelling C,
Okay.
LED, SLE, conducted, transfer, GJ, Helen, Rachel R, Susie S, Uni Y.
Okay, very good. Now I want you to decide. One of you, do you have some ideas? How can we order again? In some order, some sequence. Okay? Who wants to suggest a way to do it now? Height is more visual, but we want to use the language.
How far from here?
How far from here? Oh, I know it. How about what time did you arrive here today? What time did you arrive here today? At earliest here, at latest here. Okay? What time did you arrive here today? Earliest here, and latest
What
here.
time?
What time? What time?
Because I 9
So you should ask some of them what time they arrived.
Oh, right.
You are there?
Okay, let's check. Okay, so you were the earliest. What time?
I arrived here at 8:30 or 35.
Okay, you've been here all day.
I
Yeah, a long time. Yeah.
No, I arrived at 8.
After her.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I arrived at 8:30. 8:45. And 8:48. 15. 8:52. 1:45 and after.
I arrived here 2:45 after 10 minutes.
Uh-huh. Okay, very good, very good. All right, let's try a different activity. So I'm going to tell you to step forward into the circle. Don't do it yet. If what I say is true about you, then I want you to step forward into the circle. Okay. Okay. So let's see. Step forward if you were ever a tutor or a teacher. Okay, almost everybody. Okay, step backwards. Okay. Step forward if you do not come from Seoul. Do not come from Seoul. Okay, so many of you are from other cities in Korea. Okay, step back. All right. Step forward if you want to be an English teacher, but not other subjects. Step forward if you only want to be an English teacher. Okay. Step backwards. So it's about half of you want to be an English, teach English. Others, I'm assuming, want to teach other subjects in English. Okay. Let me think one more. Let's go back to birthdays. Step forward. Oh, step forward if you have a sister. Okay, wow, that's a good step back. Okay. All right, now one of you suggest something. One of you. You have an idea. Step forward if someone suggests something.
Step forward if you had breakfast this morning.
Okay, step forward if you had breakfast this morning. Not everybody. No. Okay. Someone else? Step forward.
Step forward if you have dog.
If you have a dog, step forward. Okay. How about, stay there. Step forward if you have a dog and a cat. Okay, step back. How about one more? Step forward if...
Step forward if you want some coffee.
Step forward if you want some coffee. Okay, step back. Okay, one more. One more. Step forward if...
Or if you can swim.
Step forward if you can swim. Okay, all right, very good. Okay, so I'd like to do one more activity, which is involves more conversation, discussion, and I think we have 16 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, we have 7 of them. So I want. I'm going to give you A or B. I'll assign you letter A or letter B. A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. If you're A, come in the middle and make a circle. A's. Okay. If you're B, stand behind someone. If you're B, stand behind someone. And everybody should have a partner.